Well, hello there and welcome. My name is MasterMark and I don't usually do Runescape content on my channel. I usually do like Let's Plays or tutorials, but I thought I'd do a little tutorial today on Runelite and how you can make Runescape look a little bit better. So this is what the game normally looks like. The FPS isn't, that great. I'm on a Ryzen 2700X, so that's my CPU can definitely handle this game. So how do we make the game look better? Because this is how it currently looks. You can zoom out. Usually the game's like locked like pretty close like this. You can like zoom out a little bit, but I can zoom out super far. So how do we make the game look a little bit better and run a little bit smoother than it is right now? Because like if you zoom in, like details like pretty good, right? Look at my character and my little blue party hat. The first thing I'm going to talk about is I'm using Runelite. It is a client you can get if you just type in. Let me actually bring this up. So here's the Runelite.net official website. You can download it for Windows or like other platforms. I got Mac. It tells you about features, latest news that I'm going to actually be showing off in this episode. So this is what I'm currently using. So you can download that here. Make sure it's runelite.net. Make sure there's nothing else in the URL. So what are the advantages of using Runelite? Yeah, as you can see, like right over here, you see it says bronze bolts 4. It gives me the grand exchange price for each of them. This is like super useful to have. See, 4 bronze bolts. If I bring up the game chat, it tells me they're 4 bronze bolts. How much they go for? That's the total price and how much each. So 2 each. I'm gonna drop those. I don't want those. And this works for almost every item in the game. Some items, like I think vials and other stuff like that, just don't appear because why would you want to pick up just an empty vial? And they are also tier colored. Let me find it in here actually. Yeah, the first thing we're going to talk about is ground items. As you can see, ground items when turned off, this is what the game normally looks like. There's some bronze bolts here, but if you have ground items on, you can see that there's some bronze bolts here. And I don't even have to be close to it. I can be like way over here. If somebody were to drop that, I can see that there's bronze bolts, even though I can't see them in the actual game. Or like on this like screen's like blocked by this wall, you can see the text. This is very useful for when people drop stuff on the ground, if you drop stuff on the ground, when monsters drop items. And this is also colored for Runelite. I don't know how it is in OS Buddy. So this is the default color, highlighted, hidden items. So something is low value, it comes up blue. So anything over 20,000 GP is going to come up in the blue text. I can show that off real quick. So here I'm going to show off what blue text looks like. So let's drop this. Yep. Let's drop it. So this is what it looks like on the ground. There's this nice blue text to let you know, hey, this item is probably worth something. You probably want to pick that up. This is really good for killing monsters, or like if you're going past a GE and somebody drops, I don't know, a dragon dagger or like a dragon scimitar or a rune like plate body or something. If it appears on the ground, you'll see the blue text. This really helps for picking stuff off the ground. You can see logs over here in white text, how much they're worth, how much they high elk for 2 GP. That's not worth it at all. So here's how YouTubers and other people make RuneScape look that much better. So as you can see, like it's kind of smooth. Like walk over here. It's kind of smooth, right? It could be better. Could be optimized a little better. Are you ready? Are you ready to enable your GPU? So here is the GPU section for Runelite. Let's enable the GPU. And immediately you can tell there's a huge difference in the clarity of the textures. You can tell it's running a lot smoother. I mean, look at this. We run over here. Look how smooth that is. We are now hitting the FPS limit of the game, which is 50. And this game running at 50 FPS is way better than running at like 20 or 30, especially in like the GE where places there's a lot of players. The game like lags. You can see it's kind of starting to lag a little bit as we come up to the GE. I just want to show you how much of a difference the GPU rendering makes. So, oh my god, look at all these players. The game is, it's kind of lagging right now, isn't it? Like, let's zoom in, like really, like look at the speed like players are moving around, right? Now let's turn GPU back on. Boom. Look how smooth people are running around. And this is the GE. There must be like 500-600 players standing like right around here trying to sell stuff in GE and high elk and fletching and all that. Like there's a game necklace. Probably won't get there in time, but that's okay. So the next thing I like to do to improve the visuals, I'm going to zoom in really close here to see my character. So we're going to turn anti-aliasing from disabled to MSAA times 2. And you can immediately tell, I'll flip back and forth, just by looking at like the edges, like around my character and like the flowers and stuff like that. As soon as I flip this on, they get this smoothing effect, which is really nice. You see how like little edges in the fence, boom, smooth. See the outline of this character? This man standing right next to me? It's like a little janky, like on the sides. Turn this on, boom. Instant improvement. And this is with all objects in the game. So there's that. I wouldn't put it any higher than this. Like I can put it on 16. Like, I am like super smooth. Going from like disabled to 16 is like a big improvement. But I like having it on 2. Just for that little boost in clarity. The next thing I'm going to do is increase the draw distance. So zoom all the way out. You see this like grid we're in? Like after a certain point there's just a wall of darkness. It'd be nice to get rid of that. So let's set the draw distance to 1. Okay, now let's slowly go up. Look at that. That veil of shadows is going away. So at 25 is the default. Let's push that a little further, shall we? I'm gonna angle the camera actually a little bit like this. Let's go to 30. That's better. You can kind of like see what's around. 35. Let's look at this. Oop, get in here. That's better, isn't it? You can kind of see. I can see the swamp from here. I can see the castle. I can see almost up until the general store and like over here where the goblins are. Bump that up a little more. 40 is what I usually use because it gives you like a really like good indication of like your area. Like I can see into the swamp. I can see like all around me. I mean, you can bump this up as high. I think 50 is the max. No, 50 is not the max. 60, 70. But the problem is with going too high on the draw distance, you know, like, oh, just make the draw distance max and you can see like in forever, right? Wrong. This game is split into chunks. So if I run up here, for example, this black wall is going to stay here until I get close. Here, watch, because this is how the game works. This is how they optimize it for the different areas. Once I get close to this, it's going to load the next chunk. See, I can see all the way up there. The problem with this is like you can see like all of this, but unless you load this chunk, it's not going to be there. And then once you start going too far in one direction, the chunk for lumberage is actually going to disappear because that's how optimization works. Because when you zoom all the way out, this is how I based what I wanted my draw distance to be. Is that if I'm looking straight down on my character and I zoom all the way out, I don't want to see any of the black walls. Like you can kind of see it like way up in the corner, but like who cares, right? You only really see it when you tilt the camera. And I mean, we can even bump this up to like 45, right? That's pretty good. You can see all the way into Al Kharid over here. This is like the furnace and like going over here. So like I would put it anywhere between like 40, 45 is pretty good. I'll leave it on 45 for now. The heck is that? A trolley? I've never seen that item in this game before. I'm getting distracted. Okay. So the most recent feature to Runelite, which just came out today on the 10th of January, on the day I'm making this video. I'm not getting like early access to it or anything. Is they added fog. And fog is an instant improvement to the wall of black. And you say what? You know, because, you know, it's like, you know, wall of black, and kind of get tired of looking at it. Boom. Look at that. There's fog. Put this on like 3. Look at that. And it's just a little bit better than just a big wall of black. You know, like it's kind of like foggy and like fades in and out. You know, that looks a lot nicer than just, you know, a black textured wall, you know, right? Because it looks like you can't see, you know, what's going on over here. And that's where draw distance comes into play as well. So if I put this down to, what was it, 25? Like, look how much better this looks. As I like tilt the camera around. I mean, it still has like it still moves around. But like, look how much better that looks than just the plain black wall. Like, you actually have some fog going on. Put this back up to 45. You do lose some draw distance with fog, but that's okay. And I actually just noticed something. There's actually these little white markings on some of the in-game objects. If you turn off remove color banding, it actually cleans up the textures, especially on the grass. Like, look at the grass right here when I turn it off and on. I actually kind of like how that looks, like the banding between the textures. It just gives it something, you know. But if it's gonna give these little white dots on all the objects, color banding off is probably better. Actually, now that I kind of look at it, I kind of like this better. So I'm gonna actually use this now. So that's all that we're gonna do with GPU for right now. The next thing we're gonna talk about is the skybox. I've been waiting for this one. I know OS Buddy Pro has this, but you have to pay for that. And who wants to? I mean, if you're already paying for members, why would you want to pay on top of that for the client? Now, I will say that OS Buddy with that has the HD graphics from like 2011, 2012, which I really like, because it looks better than this, but it's like in between RuneScape 3 and this version, which is like my favorite version, and I spent a lot of time playing that, so it's like the most nostalgic for me, even though I started playing back in like 2007, 2006. So we're gonna turn on the skybox. Look at that. No more black wall. Look at that. Look how nice this looks. It looks like a sky. I mean, it's still like, I would say this is a way better improvement than just black. You know, I got tired of seeing black. Grab these steel arrows. Look how much nicer this looks. Let's turn the fog off actually real quick again. So this is how it looks without fog. You still get this like black. Put fog on. It's nice. You can make it like super thick fog. Like, ooh. Let's go into the swamp real quick. How high does this go? It is very foggy. Can we put 100? Oh my god. This doesn't look like fog anymore though. Like, oh god, how do we turn the interface off? Let's see if we can figure that out. Like, look at this. Like, running through the, there we go, that's better. Running through the, lumbered swamp, like when it's like super foggy. Like, look at this. Doesn't this look cool? Imagine if the games had like different areas of RuneScape had like fog like this. Like, look at this. Doesn't it look cool? Like, it's super foggy out in the swamp. Like, I think this looks really cool. There's some guy doing Slayer. So let's go back to the skybox. Oh, ooh. This is like the swamp at night, maybe. Let's go back to the GPU. Put the fog on 1. We want like dense fog. It's like 40. Like, ooh, look how foggy it is. We're in the swamp. Even this works. Like, I don't know, it just adds something to the game. You know, you can make it look just a little bit better. And I'm amazed that they were able to program fog into the game. Just from like a different client. Like, I'm amazed by that. And you know, we're coming out of the swamp. We can turn down the fog to, let's say, like 10. I'll probably always leave it on at least 1. Just to like mess around with things. So we're going through the gate. Going into Alcarid. Let that chunk load. There it goes. Like, look at this. This looks way better. Going like through the desert on like a bright sunny day. Put fog on 1. Because I like the effect it gives when you're like, when it's loading parts of the map, it kind of fades in. It's not just, you know, like load in like small chunk by chunk. See what it looks like with the skybox off. That's how it normally looks. It's what I'm used to, but I think I like this better. I think I'm going to leave the skybox on. Just go to the GE real quick. So yeah, this is just a quick video I wanted to make on why you should use Runelite. For mostly the GPU like optimization, you know, you can change the draw distance. You have a skybox now. There's fog. Like, if you weren't using Runelite before, if maybe you're using like OS Buddy free or using the regular client, this might be a good time to switch to Runelite because they update it all the time, and they just added fog and a skybox, make it like look better than ever. It shows that they're really invested in their Runelite client. They want to make it the best it can be. See, I just got that item because I had the text on. One more thing I want to cover before I end this video is the scaling. I don't think it's actually in GPU. It's in something else. Oh yeah, this is another thing. So this is what the game looked like in 2005. Like the icons and stuff like that. I much prefer the 2010 one, so that's what I'm using. So this is what the game normally looks like on Runelite. And as you can see, like, it's pretty small. Like, I can't, like, the mini maps are really small. My inventory is like super small. Like, I have to look how far I have to, like, it's good for when I want to move stuff around. Like, I don't have to move the mouse that much, but like, it's so far. Like, the chat is so small. It's clear, but I can't really read the chat when it's like that. So I bump it up to 50%. Increased performance mode makes the text look kind of janky, or like stuff like that. Like, you can do integer scaling. Keep the aspect ratio. It doesn't really help me. So I actually just have stretch mode on 50%. And you can see if I go to 100%, it scales things up like closer to what like the original client looks like. But now everything's too big. Even if I zoom all the way out, it's too big. I can't see what's going on the bottom left. I can't really see what's going on the bottom right. So 50% is a good compromise, and that's what I use. Like, I still lose out at the bottom left a little bit, but that's what my mini map's for. I can always rotate the camera if I need to. So stretch mode is good if you're playing on higher resolutions. I currently am using a 1440p monitor, so it helps, you know, with scaling. That's all I really want to talk about for Runelite for right now. Now, something else they just added actually was, where was it? It was like entity hider. Okay, we're in the GE, right? Look at all these people, right? What if nobody was here? Would you look at that? There's nobody here. GE's completely empty. There's no players. I don't see any players. Do you? I see a bunch of pets. We can probably hide those too. Hide NPCs. Look at that. There's no one here. This is probably really good for if you're trying to make videos and you want to be in like the GE, like a different area, but you don't want to show anything. So we can turn entity hider back off. Here's all the players. Well, I mean, you can't see all of them because there's so many players here that has to be optimized that it like shrinks down what you see to like a small square. And when people move around, it sometimes gets bigger, smaller. I mean, which is fine. I'd like to be able to see everyone, but that would probably make the game lag. I wish there was the option so I could turn it off, because I kind of like to see like the huge amount of people. That's alright. Yeah, I'm rambling at this point. Put this game necklace away. But this is all I really wanted to talk about in this video. So I encourage you, if you do not use a client for RuneScape other than the regular one, I would advise you to get Runelite, because it makes the game way better. It looks better, it runs better, textures are cleaner. I can turn on anti-aliasing to make everything smoother. I like being able to see what items are on the ground, and like they can be highlighted, and fishing spots get like a grid around them when you're doing agility. It tells you when there's a mark of grace on the ground. It's just really nice to have. I feel like everyone should use it. I feel like you're not playing RuneScape the right way unless you're using Runelite. That's all I have to say in this video. If you enjoyed it, want to see more stuff about like RuneScape or old school RuneScape or other stuff like that, let me know. I was planning to make some tutorials, like a basic tutorial on how to play RuneScape and how stuff works and how you level. I'll probably make that one of these days. But I'm rambling. I'm going to end this video, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed and want to see more like it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.